Hey guys, welcome to Fireside Chat for August. If you're listening for free, it comes out in November, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Go to Patreon, you can get it in August like everybody else. $3, helps support us, and you get to listen to it when it's right on time.
It's more relevant.
Yeah, it makes way more sense, probably. Although we never make sense, so whatever. Anyways, so we are just getting back into D&D, so this is going to be kind of covering some... They should have
Spoiler!
If they're up to speed, they should know that by now. Come on. Anyways, so
November?
Once again, nobody has submitted any questions.
Come on, guys.
And I want to have a pretty serious talk with you guys. I really feel like you guys have questions. You're just too damn lazy to submit them. So submit them, or else.
Yeah.
Because that's a good
Or else what?
way to do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
If they want to know, they're going to have to ask the question. That's one of the ways we can get a question.
What happens if we don't do anything?
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So we just finished up Toon. I believe we're about 2 episodes deep. We record these ahead. So I believe we're about 2 episodes deep back into D&D. So as we've been doing, because apparently it's a trend now, we're going to kind of do a brief review and recap on Toon. Let's, I guess, Brad, let's start off with you. What do you... How did Toon feel? What did you think of the system? What did you think of the?
Well, Toon is really, it's a very unique role playing system, much more so than just any other like Wild West to Stone Age. I mean, yeah, those are very different, but the concept is the same. The planning from the DM's perspective, the game master's perspective, is pretty much the same. Toon, however, it is not. The pre-work for Toon is very minimal, because what makes Toon interesting and different is that it's almost entirely reaction. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And I have to, you come up with stuff on the fly. I mean, you can kind of come up with ideas of what you want to do, but most of it is, knee-jerk stuff.
Right.
Now, that makes it very different than a normal role-playing game, where you can kind of plan out the skeleton of the campaign, which you can't do in Toon as much. I really like Toon, but it's not something that you do over a long period of time.
Right.
Like if you have Toon characters, you pretty much just kind of do what we did, and that is play a series of quasi-connected stories, or not connected at all. Just, one
make new characters each time and stuff or something.
Or keep the same characters and just, have what has happened be completely irrelevant. Just episode that aren't connected in any way other than you're playing the same character. Right. And Toon, I really like Toon because it gives a lot more sort of, I guess you could say, artistic freedom to everybody that plays it. Because literally nothing is off limits,
right?
In the game of Toon, and it's funny, you got to keep that in mind. You got to have the right players and game master, because players without a good sense of humor would hate Toon. Players that don't handle sort of randomness, spontaneity, they would hate Toon. But if you get the right group of people together with the right game master, Toon is a blast. It's funny as heck.
How is the, as far as like from the DM's perspective, running the game, and also like the book itself?
The book itself gives you what you need. On purpose, they don't try and be rules heavy.
Oh, okay.
On purpose.
Right.
Because if it was rules heavy, it would be less spontaneous. It would be more restrictive, more regulated. And that's exactly what it's trying to not be.
Right.
It's trying to be as free-form, crazy, loony, zany stuff as possible. But it's well-written. The rules are well-written. Very easy to understand. But I would not take that as it is a good game for new players, because you've got to be able to think and react, like I was saying, real quickly to keep the flow going. Because it would also kill the game if you did a lot of, well, let me see that. page flipping, rules checking stuff.
You got to be able to go on the fly.
Correct.
Okay. Nate, what were your thoughts?
I actually really enjoyed it. Just the freedom to do whatever was great. Like, it was outlandish and chaotic, but I thoroughly enjoyed playing my character and everything that he could do.
Yeah. Who were you again?
Yeah.
I was captain.
No.
I was colonel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a colonel.
In my opinion, the best character.
Yeah. Can we hear his voice again?
My God, they're taking over the moon. That was by far the best line that I could have done throughout that, 5 episodes?
Yeah, it was a 5. It was a short one. But
But no, I thoroughly enjoyed everything about it. I mean, just thinking off the top of your head, like, what's the most outlandish thing you could create? Yeah, let's do it. And then watch everybody else trying to, like, ooh, that I need to top that. I need to come up with something more ridiculous than that. And that was the best part.
Yeah, and that's the spirit of Toon. That's what it is supposed to. That's how it's supposed to be.
So I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think it's probably, as far as a standalone session, it's the most fun I've probably ever had in some of them. Like the first episode, the Fugelbird and all that stuff, is some of the most fun. I think I haven't laughed that much just playing a role-playing game in general, without any story setup, without anything to it. It's just, I did find it difficult as a player, though, because you're constantly trying to come up with creative ideas of how to do stuff, and it's really hard to think that way. I don't know. I guess I relied on the briefcase a lot to just kind of help spark an idea, because I just could not come up with ideas. And I think you can kind of tell later on, it's just like every other turn I'm going to the briefcase just to try and find something. So I think it's hard as far as that goes. There's not, because it's so funky and you're trying to keep it so creative.
But that's also a style you can approach to play Toon with. I mean, like the straight man, so to speak.
Right.
Like you got Doofus the dog and Colonel Kangaroo being kind of spontaneous
Crazy,
and goofy, and then Seymour Sand is more of the reactive.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was hard in that sense, but it was a ton of fun, and I really enjoyed it. On the alternate opinion, though, and this is a good insider note. So we actually, Jeff flew out for that weekend. Brad's brother, he doesn't live in town or in state for that matter. We actually recorded all 5 of those in one day. We took an entire Saturday off and spent all the time in here and went and got lunch or whatever, but we did them all together. So I will say, on that standpoint, by like pretty much the end of the 3rd, into the 4th episode, I was pretty much done. I mean, it's really fun as a one-shot, and I do also want to say, like, we made characters for the first time, actually, in this whole podcast, besides D&D. Brad didn't make us characters. We sat down and made characters. It takes, like, 5 minutes.
Real simple.
I mean, they're real simple. They're really crazy. You're trying to be, as wild as you can with them. So, like, to sit down with a group of people, as long as you have the concept, to, like, sit down with, like, 4 other guys or whatever and just be like, hey, make a character real quick. Let's play, like, 2 hours of Toon would be awesome. But doing what we're trying to do, and I think Brad ran into this problem, too, and mentioned it a little bit, campaigning in it is just, it's impossible. I mean, you're trying to keep it so unique and different, and then how do you tie a story in together? And then you throw in, us jumping to these other worlds. So now you're trying to tie it into a bigger story, but it's cartoons, so there's not really violence, but there's kind of violent type. It's just, it turned into being just too much. And I think, like the last episode, The House of Tomorrow, just really, like, it felt dry to me and slow, and it just didn't have a feel like I wanted. I don't know. It's hard to explain without bashing Brad, but I mean, it's
that's kind of what it comes down to, is that in order to keep the spirit and the feel of Toon, I wanted to have it where they were those standalone episodes, which I think was a good idea. But then to bring it into the campaign, I had to include that. So I tried to tie all that in, leave it out of the other ones as much as possible, and bring it all together. Boom!
Like a quick,
in the end, in the last one. And we were, by that point, there was a lot of expectation in that last episode, The House of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we were already beat, tired from recording,
we were just mentally exhausted,
and all of that stuff had to happen. So the last episode was.
It's tough.
I think it was my least favorite of them, because it was the least spontaneous. There was a lot of forced feed stuff.
Right.
Like a lot of stuff you wanted to have happen that was goofy couldn't, because it would detract from what I needed to have happen.
Yeah.
where I avoided that in the other episodes.
And
Whatever.
I
was like, do it, man. Whatever.
I think if you make some kind of wacky campaigny in Toon and played sessions, weekly or bi-weekly or what have you, it might not be as bad because we did it for so many hours straight. That might have been a part of it too. You kind of have a chance to recharge. So that could be a part of it. But it just
that was definitely it. Like just the fact that we did 8 hours worth of content.
Yeah. But anyways, so that's my take on it. But overall, as a game, Brad, are we rating it a 10? I can't remember. We should really figure out a rating system.
5?
1 to 5, 1 to 10. I'm
I thought we were doing grades. I think it was grades.
Oh yeah, it was grades.
Yeah.
It was grades
with pluses and minuses or something.
School
yeah,
grades.
yeah, that's right.
So,
we did B last time.
Our experience with Toon, keep in mind that the way we're doing it is not typically how. I mean, we played it like you should, but we kind of tied in some things.
I think to be honest, I'm gonna have to give it 2 grades. One grade as like Toon as a game standalone by itself, and then a grade of our experience with tying it into the campaign and etc.
Okay, I'm down. Let's all do that then.
A standalone as an RPG. Hey, let's get together and play some Toon.
We'll go around that way first, all the way around.
I'm gonna give it an A minus. The reason I'm not giving it a full A is I think it may be a little bit too rules light.
Okay.
I mean, what they're trying to do with it is be rules light, and that's great. But I think it could use a little more fine tuning. But yeah, that's A minus as a standalone game.
Nate,
as a standalone, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. So I want to give it an A plus.
Ooh, that's your highest grade yet.
I don't know. Yeah, we've seen an A plus.
No, like I just like how you can basically do anything that comes to mind. Like, there's no limit except your imagination. And that's what I like about it, is you can do anything. Like, I'm going to pull out a spaceship out of my pocket. Like, just anything ridiculous like that. And it falls purely on the character or the player coming up with something noteworthy to do during that episode or campaign or whatever.
Session, whatever.
Yeah, and so, I mean, like, and just the fact that a person can create the best scene in the whole night, I guess, and then it just relies on everyone else to kind of be like, oh, that was really good. Let's try and one-up that.
Players can be more involved than normal.
It's way more player involved than just like a DM story. Like, it's all about player interaction, and that's what I kind of like, is just the banter and all that. So I give it an A+. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And so, yeah.
I'm
going to end there.
So I'm going to say, keeping in mind what you're getting into, not serious, that it is very rules light. I was going to mention, actually, Brad had a good point. Even on the character sheet, like the skills that they kind of have, it's only like 5 or 6 skills per section. So there's not a lot involving, most games, how they have a lot of stuff you can do and whatnot. I'm going to go B+. I'm just going to rate it a lot harder than you guys, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, you have to have the right group of people. Like, I could see the wrong group just being absolutely awful, like just terrible at it. And also, it's just, you have to be so creative, which goes hand in hand. I mean, if you have people that just are not creative, or, and also the other thing too is you have to kind of understand the game itself. It's made to fail. I mean, most of your roles are like, it's more possible for you to fail than it is for you to succeed type of thing.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah, like almost all of them. So, I mean, it's just something, you have to know what you're getting into, and then even then, you have to make sure that you have the right people, the right mindset. It's not like your typical game. I'm super glad we played it. Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, in the campaign, it was rough. So, but yeah, B+. B+ in an overall standing game. And then, Brad, you want to go?
So now we're going to grade it as far as where does it stand in our podcast. I think, it was one of the more difficult ones. I think, our Ice Age one was better. Boot Hill was way better. I have that sort of feeling. I'm gonna give it a C for the podcast. I mean, I know some of you really like it because it was different and it was exciting. But as far as from the podcast and recording and story and all of that, it's going to be a C. It was okay.
Yeah, Nate.
Like podcast wise, I'm just gonna give it a C-, just because it was so chaotic and it relied more on us, like as players, to kind of drive the story and come up with things, and that that type of sort. So I mean, like C minus, just because I feel like the ongoing story of us jumping from place to place only really showed up in the final episode. And so I mean, those first 4, as much fun as they were for like me to play, as an ongoing story, it didn't do anything. So yeah, C minus for me.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get real. I'm gonna go D, if not D minus, if that's even a grade.
It is. It gets you kicked out of college.
Okay. Personally, it feels irrelevant. It was cool to do because it was so drastically different, but it was so different from everything we've done, we couldn't even really be ourselves in other bodies, if that makes any sense. And it just, in my opinion, the way I kind of analyze this whole thing is that if we go to another place and you don't listen to that jump and then jumped into the beginning episode of the jump after that, and you missed absolutely nothing, then it was a waste of time, in my opinion, besides entertainment, of course. And Toon is by far, I mean, you could skip all of those episodes and be just fine.
Oh, yeah.
In my opinion. And I think that, to me, it kind of takes away from what, we want it to be different, and it was entertaining. And, I think it was a couple episodes too long. I think 3 to 4 would have been better. But just overall, I felt like that, and in my opinion, again, that's just me. So, I would give it, in our setting, I would give it a good, D minus. Like, we could almost get rid of it completely and be fine.
Yeah, but I think, reflecting that, playing devil's advocate on this, it would be, I mean, the purpose of our podcast is to entertain our audience, give them a good story.
True.
But it's also to do different systems.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, that is why we're here, to do different systems. So yeah, what you're saying is true. If you didn't listen to Toon, you went from Ice Age to D&D, you wouldn't really miss anything in the plot.
Right.
Because I think in Toon, the end of Toon, you had some of the reminders about the calligraphy A or calligraphy Y. Coming out and stuff, but really nothing moving the story forward.
Right.
Just sort of reminders of the story. But really, we're here. 50% of it is story, but 50% of it is to play these different games, to show the games being played and stuff. So really, for just to kind of be devil's advocate, like I said, I'm going to grade it a little bit higher because it did serve a purpose.
And as a game, very high.
Correct.
Love it. But it's too far, I think, in my opinion, for what we're doing. Like, we tried to do it, and it might have been the approach. I mean, no offense or attack to Brad or anything. It might have been the approach. Maybe if we were cartoon characters but still had kind of a D&D-esque campaign as cartoon characters, maybe it would have felt like it fit better. But just as the standalone episodes, and it's just so dramatically different and just kind of, I don't know, it felt out of place to me. And I enjoyed playing it, and I loved playing it, and I'm glad we did it, and I'm glad that everybody got to listen to it, But, as far as a fit for what we're doing, or trying to do, I should say, it just didn't.
Yeah, it was no Boot Hill. It was no Ice Age.
That's just, I mean.
But I'm definitely glad we played it.
Oh, absolutely.
Me too. I think
100%.
we're all in unanimous agreement with that.
As a game, it's awesome. So anyways, we'll move on from there. But we're glad you guys listened to it. If you listened to it, if you didn't, go listen to it, so you at least know what we're talking about.
Yeah, this will be a lot more relevant if you actually listen to it. It's only 5 episodes.
And I mean, and they're all good episodes. They're very entertaining. They're standalone episodes, which was a cool thing to do.
And they're funny as hell.
Yeah, they're very chaotic and a lot of fun to play.
A very different style. So anyways, so next question that we didn't get submitted that we're going to make up. So we're 2 episodes deep back into D&D. I just wanted to do a quick questionnaire on you guys. How does it feel to be back in D&D? We've obviously gone 3 jumps now, which was, crap, I didn't even look at the math. It was like 15 or 20 episodes or something since we've played D&D. So, Nate, how does it feel being back?
It feels very good to have my hammer back.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I definitely enjoy jumping around quite a bit just to give that extra oomph and when we do come back to D&D, because it's always nice to come back to D&D.
And
regardless.
something Yeah,
it's just what you know, and you're like, oh man, this feels good to be back in this character. I can actually heal. I can do damage. Like, it's
a very grass is always greener on the other side situation where you're like, oh, that game looks way better, and then you play it for a little while and come back and you're like, oh, I forgot how good D&D was.
Yeah, you're like, oh my god, you're so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I enjoy being back to D&D. Like, as much fun as Toon and GURPS and all that was, like, I actually thoroughly enjoyed GURPS. But Toon was a nice change of pace, but it's always just nice to be back home.
Yeah, right. Brad? Especially from a DM perspective.
Oh,
Holy crap.
my Lord.
Going from a game you barely know to a game
So,
you know
yeah,
for 20
every time we
years.
do a jump into a new system, even if it's like Toon and GURPS that I've played a bajillion times, I still have to read, volumes of material
Right.
to refresh the rules and to come up with settings. I do a lot of outside research and just all this work. I do work for a new system. D&D, I've got it memorized, man. I can tell you what page numbers everything is. I mean, very, very little. I still do a lot of work outside,
Right.
but it's easy work. It's just
Reminders.
I need to come
and
up with a
stuff.
good this for this, and just there it is. Whereas with other systems, it's I actually not only do I have to do the research for the setting and draw the maps, I have to come up with historically stuff for GURPS. I had to read that Toon book. It's not a big book, but I had to read it like 8 times just because it is so chaotic and spontaneous and different than other games. And with D&D, it's that just familiar. It's the warm blanket and pillow by the fire, or the open window on a rainy day with a glass of iced coffee or something. You're like, it feels comfortable being in D&D. I can handle coming up with hours of story and hours of play and different things with D&D a lot better than I can with other systems. So yeah, it feels great to be back.
And I think that shows too, to be honest. Like, just it flows a lot better in D&D.
Yeah, the confidence level.
Yeah, you know what you're talking about rather
right.
than second guessing yourself.
Well, just in general, it's just you
as
feel it.
from a game master's perspective, I guess I hit on it at the very end with the confidence. My confidence level as a DM in D&D is my highest. I mean, I'm a pretty good, I think, solid game master in any system that I read, but D&D is like it comes naturally. Kind of thing.
You just been playing it. Yeah, for me it's good. It's first edition's not my choice for D&D, but so it's always tough. We always get into the first few rolls where it's like, wait, what the hell am I rolling?
Yeah,
here?
Thaco's always a tough one.
Will always be.
But it's not like, we've played it, and so it kind of comes and goes. But I think as soon as I play something else, I almost just forget it completely until I have to come back to it. Unlike Brad, who prays over it every night or whatever. But anyways, no, yeah. So it's tough to remember the roles and stuff, but it does feel a lot better. My thing is to just especially with that first episode, as you guys have listened to, I'm sure, just so much information. But that's going to happen. A year and a half is a long time. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it really is all going to tie together into the big picture of the story, I'm sure. So, we're going to be like 87 and defeat the end boss. The final battle is going to be in a nursing home because we're been jumping so much. It's been 40 years later, but but anyways, it's good. It feels good to be back. And even, I play a lot of Pathfinder and stuff. That's kind of my big choice. And even, D&D is not that far off first edition from Pathfinder. The roles and the wording and some of the mechanics, distances, things like that are different, but overall, the same feel is still there.
Yeah, it's a fantasy setting regardless.
Well, and
Feel
you still roll to do the same things, and it's just what are you rolling instead of? You want low instead of high, that kind of stuff. But it's the mechanics are all still there, so it's nice. It's nice to be back. All right, final question that nobody submitted, so we're making up on our own. As a TV series goes, what is your favorite?
All time or in the last few years?
All time. Which is a hell of a lot longer in Brad's life.
I go back to MASH.
Yeah. I would say
MASH is pretty damn good.
All-time favorite TV series.
MASH is not my favorite.
Dick Van Dyke, Mary Tyler Moore.
Okay, no, that's
Rhonda Show.
Too far.
Brad loves Lucy.
I was a big Nick at Night fan growing up, so I know all these classics.
Agreed. I could start it off while you guys think, if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not a big TV movie watcher, as you guys know, but
we know
listeners
that very well.
don't know. So I'm pretty big into sitcoms if I watch TV, which is not the best for a lot of people.
I remember yours.
Yeah. So mine is going to be Everybody Loves Raymond. without a doubt, single-handedly, I know we've had this discussion before with you guys, but it's one of those shows that always comes up in any kind of TV discussion for me. Like, I could sit down and watch that show from start to finish, season 1, episode 1, all the way to, I don't even know how many seasons there are, to the very last episode. Hands down, could still find things that I find funny in it, and it's refreshing every time. And the other thing I also like about it is that they didn't really get into a lot of the drama aspects a lot of sitcoms get into later on. So, yeah, absolutely love Everybody Loves Raymond. There's no doubt about it.
Well, everybody loves Raymond.
If I'm stranded on an island with a TV and a DVD set, that's what I'd be watching. So, hands down. And I think I know Nate's, but go ahead, Nate.
I want to hear what you think. Marcus.
Hands down, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh yeah.
You were obsessed in high school.
It is a very solid show. Don't get me wrong.
Is that because of Sarah Michelle Gellar, or
Yes.
is that because of the show?
Well, both.
Joss Whedon and everything that he does, I fucking love. Firefly, Serenity, Dollhouse, Angel, Buffy. We got Cabin in the Woods. Is it Cabin in the Woods? Yeah, it's Cabin in the Woods.
That's usually where cabins are, yeah.
But, it was like that show. That's off topic. I'm not even going to go there.
You already did.
But everything Joss Whedon does is phenomenal. Hands down. But, no, actually.
Okay.
My number one show that I could, no matter how many times I've seen it, I can rewatch it, The Office. American edition.
American Office, yeah.
Can't do it.
I love that. That, Parks and Rec, and...
Parks and Rec is good, too.
See, here's the thing is what's funny about those is, I watched Parks and Rec, and I enjoyed Parks and Rec. And people are like, oh, The Office is the same thing. And it is. But I cannot get into The Office. I don't know what it is.
I don't think The Office is the same. I mean, they're both comedies, but I think...
They're very similar.
Parks and Rec is more...
Like Americanized, do you
and
think?
I feel like we've talked about this.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about this.
Yeah, but not for our beautiful listeners at home.
Because Parks and Rec was going to be a spin-off of The Office, and where the spin-off was the fax machine.
They get the paper for the fax machine from Scranton.
No, you get the literal fax machine that Scranton just beats the shit out of throughout their whole thing. That gets sent to Parks and Rec office, and it was going to be their focus, and it never panned out. But that was the whole thing. It was just a literal spin-off of The Office.
Yeah.
That's
but
hilarious.
Office and Parks and Rec.
You only get one. Got to pick one.
Okay, well then I do The Office with the length it takes me to watch Parks and Rec break, and then I watch The Office, and then just rinse and repeat. All I do is just watch those two.
This is yeah.
It's so good.
I think Chris Pratt's character in Parks and Rec
Oh, hands down.
is my favorite.
Ron Swanson.
But Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson's would be my favorite, but he would be.
Chris Pratt around season 3, I think, is when he starts to get good. When he's just that idiot with broken legs that falls in the pit.
Yeah, the bum.
He's not my favorite,
right.
but when he starts shoe shining and then just develops into such a golden character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a sitcom, really. I didn't see that from you.
Yeah.
All right, Brad. I'm going to guess Brad's now. I'm on a hot streak.
Okay.
0 for 1. Star Trek.
Which one?
I don't know the Star Treks. The one that was around when you were a kid. in the
Generation.
60s.
There wasn't one around when I was... Because the original...
The 90s one.
There's 3 from the 90s. So you got original series, which ran...
Here we go. I shouldn't have brought up
63 to 65, 3 seasons. Then you had...
Well, thanks for listening.
You had Next Generation, which I believe was 88 to 95. Oh, pretty right around there. Pretty
That
close.
was Picard?
87 to 94 or 88 to 95.
Just pick a damn show, would you?
It was Next Generation.
Okay.
Star Trek Next Generation. Now, I think the characters in the original series, something about, they felt better. The Next Gen characters, I feel, were too...
Cheesy?
Predictable.
Oh, okay.
Kind of thing. Here's the token Klingon security guy, who he wasn't actually originally. He was the weapons guy. Right. But anyway, it's Next Generation. Honorable mention goes to The Simpsons.
Okay.
Heroes, the original Heroes TV
Yeah,
show.
that was a solid
but
show.
We're only counting season 1.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, why would you go beyond that?
Everything
It's
beyond
just
season 1
garbage.
was tanked. And probably Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, that's right. You do like. I have seen that.
I actually own all 6 seasons of Third Rock from the Sun on DVD set.
Really? They only did 6?
Yeah, because that is like my Everybody Loves Raymond. I could watch that over and over again and still laugh until I cry.
Right,
You know,
and they have like phrases they say that you forget about and stuff. The same thing.
John Lithgow's character when he wears the leather pants and gets his hair dyed. That episode, I think it was in season 1. I literally come to tears laughing. Still, and I've seen that episode like 5 or 6
That's how
times.
Everybody Loves Raymond is for me. Yep.
So yeah, Star Trek Next Generation for me.
All right. Well, there you go. Now you know our TV shows. So if you
Yeah.
send us any fancy gifts or anything, who am I kidding? You came to submit a question. Anyways,
If
all
you
right, guys.
if you do send something, send me some Firefly box sets.
You said The Office. You can't take it back.
Well, he already owns The Office and
No-
Parks and Rec.
no
he
takesy
needs
backsies.
Firefly.
Yeah, why would I ask for something I already have?
I don't know. All right. Well, that's it for this Fireside. If you guys have any questions, please submit them.
Please.
Pretty please. If you don't know where, we're everywhere, but if you don't know where, we're on Facebook. You can email us at losersofinitiative@gmail.com. We're on Patreon. If you're on Patreon, I think it's Patreon/Losers of Initiative. I don't know exactly. You just Google Losers of Initiative.
Google
We don't know
Losers of
where we are, so you just look us up.
So I'm horrible with the internet.
You
literally.
find us. Yeah,
I type in Losers of Initiative, and then I just scroll until I see a Patreon link, or I scroll until I see a Podbean
or
link,
a link. Yeah, or a link.
scroll until I see the where I want to go link.
But anyways,
That's how I do it.
we're everywhere. We're all over the internet. So if you have any questions, and to be honest, a lot of you know us. So just text Brad, for God's sakes.
Oh, know us? Yeah. Know me.
Yeah, no Brad.
A lot of you know Brad. My wife kind of listens sometimes.
Mine doesn't.
My mom likes our page, but she doesn't ever listen. So,
Yeah, thanks for liking it, Miss McKinney.
yeah. So,
I
anyways,
haven't heard any of it
I don't
yet.
know what they're doing over there in that shed. So, yeah. So, if you got questions, please submit them. Anything, as long as it's not personal. Actually, I'll take personal
Yeah,
at this point.
we can modify your
I'll
question
flat
if it's
out
too
tell
personal.
you my waist size.
Mine's like 3 inches around.
Your waist size?
Yes.
Or the size of pizza you like to eat. All right, so, but yeah. Keep it PG. And if you enjoy us, which I don't know why you would, but if you do, or enjoy the podcast, patreon.com/Losers of Initiative.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. $1 gets you a thank you. $3 gets you these episodes on the month they come out. This is August. Comes out in some other time.
November.
for free.
Yeah, November. See, I wrote it down, but I don't have my paper with me.
Yeah,
so
you lost it.
I don't know what's going on.
That's why I wrote it down, so
That's
you
why
wouldn't have to remember.
I would have
But
to
he
remember.
lost the paper.
Yeah, it's a terrible system I got right
You
now.
should write down where you keep the paper.
Just
should.
right here on the wall.
$5 gets you episodes early, and we're kind of in the mix on $10, but we got some different ideas brewing. So, anyways, we appreciate the support. Keeps us going. Keeps things fresh.
We love each and every one of you.
We do, and I appreciate you
And-
taking the time.
We're gonna shut up now. So, enjoy the rest of your day or evening or sleep, and
Drive safe.
Enjoy your next 24 hours.
we'll see you.
168 hours.
Okay, I'm gonna just cut us off.
Okay, all right. Bye.
We're just talking too much.